Hello and welcome to the Troyiverse. It is Monday, the 13th of July. It is 82 degrees with a high of 84 in Philadelphia. It's always sunny, except for when it's thunderstorming and flooding. So let's just be clear about this. So let's talk about how crazy these last couple of weeks been. So, first of all, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. But like, it went from a freaking heat wave, like it was in the 90s for like all week, and then of course those like really horrible days of it being at like 101 and 100 degrees or like that. Then right after that, like 2 days or a day after that, it was like horrible thunderstorms, horrible downpours, to the point that parts of Philadelphia was flooding. I don't understand what is happening to the East Coast, where we had thunderstorms before. Like we've been in like I mean I know this is like supposed to be like what is monsoon weather or yada yada yada, but like we had these torrential downpours. I've never known the city of Philadelphia to flood in the spots that it's flooding in. Like it was flooding in like the Cheltenham area. Like I've never heard it to flood in the Cheltenham area. Like there's been puddles that was created, what I mean, but not ponds. Like what the fuck? And I mean, of course, Cobb's Creek and stuff like that. It has the possibility of flooding because any type of any sub area or like spots of like where it's like a low hanging fruit or like that. I get it, but at the same time, it was apparently like a tornado or something like that in West Philadelphia, which was crazy. Trees was fucking ripped out the fucking like out the ground, literally ripped out the ground, falling, knocking out power lines, like crushing cars. Like it's been fucking crazy. So, not to mention, the electric company went on strike. I'm still not even sure if they're like off a strike or not yet. Like it's luckily the area I'm in, I've been cool. Not to mention, like I said before, I have a solar powered generator, and a whole bunch of other stuff. That I actually got a ham radio recently. I bought Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, and when I got that, I got a ham radio. It's a crank radio, ham radio with a solar charge to a panel to it. So like, if anything were ever happen to like my electricity, I'm cool. I'm straight. But like, only thing I'd be missing would be like my Wi-Fi. I think I would have to probably make my phone like a hotspot or something like that to like either continue doing my podcast or like to try to like watch TV. I don't even know if it's strong enough to watch TV on, but I don't know. It is what it is. But like, like it's been crazy. So I mean, what else happened this week? We were we were trying to figure out the where's Mitch McConnell situation, because he's been MIA for 3 weeks, and then the Republicans keep trying to act like he's not dead, which I don't know if he's dead or not. I think he is though, because it don't make no sense. Like here's the thing: if they pronounce him dead, they would have to do a special vote to place somebody's ass in his chair and make them the new, position that he was in, which means that there is a 25% chance that they could get somebody that's a flunky for Trump to get back in his seat, but realistically there's a 75% chance that regardless if it's a Democrat or a Republican, they won't bend the knee to Trump. So they're trying to make sure that no one knows if he's dead or alive yet, so they don't have to do a special this special vote. However, ironically enough, they send out a weird picture that looks fake. It don't look real. It looked like it was maybe something that he took like last year or some shit when he was still healthy. Because remember, if y'all could, like, I know a lot of people don't pay attention to Mitch McConnell or like what's going on, but he looked like a zombie for the last like year and a half. Like realistically, like it was bad. Like, so it's July now, so I want to say like January of last year, he actually kind of looked normal. But even then, he was still like he was like suffering from a stroke or something like that. But like, it doesn't look real. And the fact that these weird Republicans keep saying, "Oh, I had a 17-minute conversation with him," like, what? Like, so he can only talk for 17 minutes? He can only be coherent for 17 minutes? That don't sound right. That don't sound right. But regardless, it's I find it's funny because while they were trying to play where's Mitch McConnell, is he alive or dead, if he on this plane of existence or not, Lindsey Graham ended up dying. Now here's the funny thing about this. I just seen, it was so funny because I seen it right before I went to sleep last night. It was a conspiracy. It was a person who was like, call me a conspiracy theorist. You know, but at this point, like that don't even mean anything no more because all the conspiracy theories are fucking true. between the elite rich people eating babies and doing like demonic sacrifices and what like that, or Christian sacrifices, if you will, and like fucking all like aliens being real, time travel being real, the Mandela effect and like CERN fucking up the timelines being real, all this shit. The fucking cornucopia is back in fucking Fruit of the Looms. Now, if anybody remember this, Fruit of the Looms came out themselves. It was like, we never had a cornucopia, even though I remember seeing cornucopias when I was a kid and Fruit of the Looms, like advertisements and on their brands and stuff like that. But of course, then they was like, we never had a cornucopia. That was never a thing that we had in our product. But now all of a sudden they talk about, oh, we're going to bring it back. Like, what do you mean bring it back? You said you didn't have it. But then they're like, we're going to put it in there because people keep saying we had it, so we're going to put it in there. That don't make sense. It don't make sense. Why would you? No, that, like, if, as a brand, to fucking put more artwork into making cornucopia and being like, okay, we're just going to do it because the the people who are around the world keep saying we had it, so now we're just going to put it back there because, or we're going to put it there because that's what the people out in the world keep saying. That's weird. It's weird. But anyway, not to mention all this stuff is happening after CERN cut off their fucking hydro collider. But regardless, like, somebody was like, it's weird because I think Lindsey Graham was like in Ukraine, and Ukraine is still going to war with Russia, and it found out apparently Lindsey Graham was in the like hangar or in the military facility where apparently Russia blew up that like hangar. So the theory is that Russia accidentally on purpose, I don't know who, it doesn't, whatever, who knows the tendencies of other people at this point, but apparently the theory is Russia bombed that hangar. Lindsey Graham was in that hangar. America found out Lindsey Graham got fucking like blown up in that hangar, so now they're trying to be like, oh, well, he came back from the Ukraine, but he went home and then he got sick and he had a heart attack, and he was found at 2:00 in the morning. The funny thing about that is, because here's the thing, I think about mortality a lot, of course, because of my my own journey into the afterlife and back here into the land of the living. I was home alone because I have a daughter. My daughter doesn't live with me, but I will be talking to my daughter tomorrow for the third time. It's so dope. I'll get to that later. I'm not married, and her mom is, of course, on the other side, and she didn't have the capacity to be able to journey back to the land of the living, like myself and our daughter did. But regardless, I'll tell for another time. I am a caretaker for my roommate, but at the time when I did pass, my roommate was in the hospital herself because she was dealing with her like medical issues with that, dealing with gout and yada yada yada. So similarly, like Lindsey Graham, when I died, I was home alone. Lindsey Graham don't have a wife or kids, so he was home alone. Unless they was trying to say like his security team was sweeping the house, and I'm not sure what his security team does. I don't know if they like are live-in security or if they are like surveilling the house from the outside, watching his body temperature. I don't know. I don't know. But like, it's kind of strange where he lives by himself, and they was like, oh yeah, he was found at 2:00 in the morning, you know, suffering from a cardiac arrest. So, and that's how he died, or like that. So, it's, I don't know. It's, the world would never know how these weird lizard people move because they aren't human, and there's no way you can. I can't even decipher and understand what other humans are doing. How can I decipher what a whole other species is doing? So, yeah, it's just, it's funny because they was trying to rig this fucking these seats in the Republican side of the which called, they still want to have to like do the whole thing again with Lindsey Graham's seat. So it's like Rome is falling, dude, and I'm excited, dude. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I can't wait to see what happens. And then of course the zombie thing is still a fucking a major factor because of course the pamphlets are still out there dealing with the whole zombie thing, and it's so funny because they're trying to people have been trying to look up like zombie something 2026 or like that, and apparently there's supposed to be a zombie festival that's supposed to be happening that's like barely blowing up everywhere this year, I guess. I don't know, but it's just hilarious. The world is going insane. Oh my god, there was a video, I'm not sure if anybody's seen it or not, but it was a video where it was a ring cam showing the front porch of this home, and it was showing like two people coming outside the front porch and like walking around, and then out of nowhere these glasses materializes onto the porch. Like, say what you will, if you haven't watched the video, go watch the video and then have your thoughts about it. But it's just, it's funny that it really did just materialize. I watched the video like 3 different times. It was actually on Slap Ham. It was on a recent episode of Slap Ham, which I didn't like. Slap Ham, that was the 3rd time I seen it was on Slap Ham. I seen it twice on like TikTok. Like, it's fucking hilarious. But yeah, it's so much. Fucking Sony is getting dragged through the fucking coals, and they deserve it. I didn't mention this in the last couple of podcasts because I really kind of forgot about it. It wasn't something that was on my wherewithal to think about. But the fact that they're trying to now discard physical media is fucking hilarious. It's fucking bananas. This whole concept of this capitalistic fucking world is at its like death throttles, really, because at the same, like, it don't make any sense to be like, we're not going to do physical media no more. Like, people, a lot of people, regardless of people, you know, downloading and, you know, yada yada yada, everybody's not trying to like go digital. Everybody's not trying to do that. People trying to have physical media, and it's shown. It's being shown and proved that because of the fact that like it's showing how many people are signing. I signed the petition of saying like, nah, fuck that. We want physical media. Rockstar, literally, Rockstar pulled all their stuff from like Sony. Like, they didn't pull their stuff from Sony, but their advertisement right now from Sony, they pulled it away. They was like, yeah, we said we was gonna do the digital thing, but we're not a part of the Sony taking away all the fucking physical stuff. So like, yada yada yada. It's fucking funny. The courts are getting involved now. The courts are like, no, you can't do that. Like, Sony PlayStation has like cut off all their fucking like their media stuff, like social media pages and stuff. It's funny, dude. It's funny. Like, this shit is hilarious. Like, people making fun of them. Domino's was like, if you buy a pizza, it will be a pizza there, but we will send a digital pizza to Sony. Yo, it's fucking hilarious, dude. But yeah, I've been cracking up about that. I've been cracking up about the whole voice memo thing. Listen, if y'all don't know about the voice memo thing yet, by the time that this podcast come out, because this is definitely episode 41, of this podcast of welcome to the Troyiverse. But like, it's so funny because like I've been paying attention. I actually listened to the voice memo, and I've been paying attention to it. And when it came down to it, my opinion is he did nothing wrong. Y'all, if you have been here on my podcast, you listen to my podcast since the beginning, y'all all know how I feel about it. When it comes down to it, any adults that are adults and mature adults unequivocally need to have conversations about sexual intent and sexual like boundaries. Like when it comes down to it, because it's so ridiculously dumb, and it's a major part of rape culture to just get into a situation and being like, well, she invited me at the crib, so I mean, why wouldn't I smash? Like, did you get consent? No? Then that's why you don't smash. Like, if she didn't like enthusiastically give you consent and say, yeah, that's what it is, or if y'all don't already know this is the boundaries of what's going on, or y'all not doing role play of consensual, not consensual, you know what I mean? Like, then don't do anything. But the fact of the matter is, he played this part by going and being like, listen, this is who I am. And it's so funny because you can see the lines drawn in the sand, because the LGBTQ community and the kink community and those that are like on the spectrum being artistic and stuff like that, everybody agreed with him being like, no, he did the right thing. Now everybody is saying the same thing on a regard of saying like maybe he could have said it differently. Now mind you, on that topic, regardless of anything, none of us was raised by the same people. We was not raised by the same parents. We don't have the same wherewithal of how everybody talks. We talk the way we talk because that's how we was raised in the environment we lived in, and that's how we are now. Just because I talk this way, doesn't mean that everybody that I meet in the Acme I'm about to go to, the laundromat I'm about to go to, the comic book store that I go to, speaks the way I speak, or have the same vernacular that I have. So just because somebody used 50-cent words compared to somebody else using 25-cent words doesn't mean that we are so lost in translation that we don't know what the fuck is going on. He said this is what he had, this is his standards in relationships. He wants to be physically intimate with you and yada yada yada. She said, I don't know. Now, regardless of anything, her saying I don't know is not a yes. So when she comes back and being like, hey, I want you to come over to my house where it's just you and me, that's mixed signals. That's mixed signals because you already know what he's asking for. He's asking to be intimate with you. If you can't say a yes, I also want to be intimate with you, and you got to say I don't know, that's child shit. That's child shit. That's shit when you, like, literally children say to anything and everything when they don't want to fucking say yes to something, or they don't want to say no to something because they don't know what the outcome of the repercussions is going to be. That's not coercion on his part. That was literally baiting and fucking confusion on her part, which was trying to steer him into confusion. Fuck that. He did the right thing, because point blank period, he's not obligated to come over a house for I don't know. She's trying to move and push his boundaries and move the goalposts for his boundaries, while also trying to subvert and keep her boundaries somewhat where she can secretly hide it away from and not tell him. And that's some bullshit. So he did the right thing. Now granted, when I said again, it's up to I don't know how this dude was raised. I don't know if he was feeling like, secure, insecure, or he was feeling scared or nervous, or if he was feeling some type of way about, how, all this is going down, because who knows, he could have wound up in a viral sensation fucking video of millions of people talking about what he said and what he didn't say, which happened. And you know what the weirdest part about that is? That is the weirdest part. She took it upon herself to take something that was a personal conversation between him and her, and then put it on the internet. You like that's weird. That's weird. I don't care if anybody on the other side of these people who are not on the spectrum or claim it, because you know how I feel about it. I feel like the people that act like that try to act the normalist are the ones that are most on the spectrum, because they're masking the hardest, because they want to be just like everybody else instead of being their authentic regular self. But regardless, all those people that try to act like he was the weird one and trying to negate her actions are hilariously weird to me. Like, y'all are the problem. Y'all are the problem. Y'all are the course that continually perpetuate rape culture. Like, that's what it comes down to. Because point blank period, as an adult, as two grown adults, it is an adult thing to do, a mature adult thing to do, to have a conversation of saying, hey, I like you, we had a great first date, but I do want to see where this is going to be physically, because I'm not trying to go and spend more money, waste more time, and then we get into a serious, deeply intimate relationship without any type of physicality, and then we get physical, and then we don't mesh well. Now, mind you, once again, personally for me, a lot of people know my stories and stuff already. I used to sleep with a lot of different women on the first date. Like, we would have the first date type of situation where we would feel a groove, and shit would just fucking naturally progress to a point of just us just ended up having coitus that first time we meeting, and then we moved on to eventually them being like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And then I'll be like, all right, well, I definitely enjoy, having coitus with you. I enjoy our time that we spend together when we're not having coitus. I mean, I don't particularly think we need to have a label, but if that's how you feel comfortable continuing this course of action, then, it is what it is. Like, we can be, in a relationship. And of course, eventually end up being us, breaking up, because usually they would cheat, which is hilarious, because I would always open the conversation to saying, like, let's just do an open relationship. Let's just, we don't have to have labels. We don't have to be boyfriend and girlfriend, because I feel like that's also immature. That's high school and middle school and elementary school issue like that. Like, just be fucking poly. And this was before the whole rage of being poly. I was saying this shit when I was like 16, 17, 18, and shit like that, up until now. But regardless, when it comes down to it, I have a different, unique perspective about this. But I agree with him when it comes down to it. If he's asking her to say, hey, let's have sex, which is not begging, is not coercion, is not grooming, is not none of this shit. Like, when it comes down to it, he was being an actual adult that was trying to remove himself from the usual rape culture antics of America. And anybody who says differently, that's your own granted opinion, but my opinion of you is you a proponent of rape culture. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, it's been hilarious, listening to all these different people and their concepts of what was right and what's wrong, and them making up fucking scenarios. I've seen people on men and women making up these weird outlandish scenarios, being like, well, he's the type that will probably go over there and probably take it from her if she said no. That's why she said I don't know. Y'all don't know this man. You don't know this dude. Y'all, this is why, once again, this is why I am so happy to be single. I am enjoying being single so much, because y'all motherfuckers will make up the fucking biggest, baddest boogeyman in the history of histories just off the fact that y'all disagree with how somebody said something. And it's so fucking laughable, because the shit just shows who you really are as a person. And once again, y'all are the type that lie and act like y'all like. If here's the beautiful thing about this fucking the voice memo thing about it, and the text message that went along with it, stuff like that. Like, if it was just the voice memo, it would be clear and cut and being like, well, for me, I'll still be clear cut and be like, I don't see him doing anything wrong. He voices his boundaries. He's voiced the way he was looking for in a relationship. He didn't say he like that was all he wanted. He didn't say that was all he wanted. He didn't say that it was a sexual thing. Was all he just said. And this point, this is where he wanted to go with that in that second date. However, it still comes to reason. The fact of the matter is, after the fact, before, during, or after, doesn't matter. There's no reason, if knowing that he wanted this type of intimacy, physical intimacy, doesn't apply unless you are going to, acquiesce and say, all right, I'm cool, to give a man, a stranger, somebody you only went on a one date on, your personal address to let you know where you lay your head at. Like, it's not cool. Like, I'm like, this is why I'm like, this whole situation is cooked, man. Like, y'all gotta do a lot of work on yourselves. Y'all gotta do a lot of work on yourselves. Like, cause this is weird. It's weird energy. It's giving weird energy. But yeah, like, how can anybody, like, I'm glad he actually did it because I feel like he dodged the bullet. Regardless of all the shots being fired at him personally, he dodged the bullet because regardless of anything, that's weird culture, man. Like, the fact that she's literally putting his stuff out there and acting like he's the, like that's weird, dude. That's weird. That's what. And the funny thing is, the beautiful thing is, this is also a reason why I record everything, because I'm not going through another he said she said thing where everybody, male, female, or indifferent, everybody in the middle or outside the box or stuff like that, is going to fucking try to comment and make up their own scenarios about shit they don't even fucking know about, which is so funny. Because this was going to segue into the conversation I had with my daughter. Because the fact that they want to make up some fucking fairy tale because their lives is fucking shit, and they want to make it themselves feel better by trying to tear somebody else's life down. So let's go into the whole fact of me being able to talk to my daughter for the second time. So if you remember the last podcast, I was talking about how I talked to my daughter, and sadly, I had to like gaslight her like that because I felt that she was being led, groomed, if you will, non-sexually groomed, if you will, to the point of trying to get me to say something disparaging about her mother, or to say something that was, just off kilter or like that, yada yada yada, to try to damage my relationship or our relationship with each other, me and my daughter, or like that. So of course, she was like, why did you do what you did? And I was like, you gotta give me like more to go off of, because what do you mean, what did I do? So I knew, or had a feeling. I knew. I knew. I'm a Gemini. I knew that they was going to coach her, because now they had a whole week and a half basically to coach my daughter, to be like, hey, ask your dad this. Hey, ask your dad this. Remember to ask your dad this. Ask your dad this. Say it like this. Ask your dad this. So we end up talking. The second time we ended up talking, it was still fantastic. Second time she was like, remember the time where we was, in the car, and I guess I was being picked up from school, and yeah, mind you, once again, they coached this shit. She was 4 years old at the time when this happened. She's 10 now. She's gonna be 11 this year. She was already. They weren't in the car. No one was in the car except for her mom, and myself. But remember, I was like, yeah, I guess y'all was picking me up from school, which was, no, that wasn't what happened. Her mom picked her up from school already, and then they was coming to pick me up from work. So anyway, regardless, so like when I guess mom was picking me up from school, and the thing happened in the car where you did what you did, and then what happened next, and I was like, and of course the mediator hopped back in. I really appreciate the mediator. Like, she's fantastic. She's doing an excellent job. But she hops in, was like, Lily, I know you got some questions, so like that, but I and it's very hard to understand that sometimes adults fight and they argue and stuff like that, but let's focus on the present and stuff like that. And I was like, thank you so much for saying that. I was like, however, I will answer this question because I feel as though it's okay for me to answer, and I want to be honest and open with my daughter and stuff like that. And it was a thing where I was like, Lily, I just wanted you to understand this. Only people that was in the car was you, your mother, and myself. No one else was in the car with us. No one else was there. So when it comes down to it, I never touched your mom. I never assaulted your mom. I was like, if anything, I was protecting you. And that's the only thing I said about the car situation. Then I moved on, and I was like, when it came down to it, it's the same way of if someone were to tell you about someone else that you haven't met yet, and they wanted to tell you that person, the analogy I used was if they were to tell you that this person picks their nose and put boogers on the wall. I was like, unless you actually see that person pick their nose and put boogers on the wall, there's no reason for you to believe that, because that's just a story. That's just something that they made up to tell you about that person. And I was like, I don't want you to grow up in a point of being judgmental and judging people off of the merits of somebody else's story about them. That's not right, and that's not fair to you, and that's not right, and that's not fair to them. And I hope you understand that. And she was like, no, I can understand that. Like, yeah, like, I wouldn't think that. I was like, so when it comes down to it, once again, only people that was in the car was your mom, you, and me. No one else. So anybody else trying to tell you stories about who I was and who I am, so like that, they weren't there. Now, what we have right now is the opportunity to get to know each other and get to learn each other and rebuild this relationship and stuff like that we have as father and daughter. That's what my purpose is. And I hope that's the same purpose that you have. And I hope that's a good enough answer for you. And it was to the point where she was just like, no, that's good. Like, I'm good with that. And I was like, I just want to make sure you're good with it, because, like, if you're not, we definitely can talk about this later on when you get older and stuff like that, and you can get the full-on story about everything that happened. But as of right now, I don't feel as though that's the appropriate time to be talking about this. I want to get to the point where we get to know each other again and stuff like that. So it was just a wonderfully crafted, like, expression of just love and understanding, and just a concept of being like, yeah, like, we're here now. Like, so much time was wasted because of all these lies and all this fucking fabrications of what happened and what didn't happen in the fucking car, stuff like that. And we lost so much time together. Now we have the opportunity to have this time back with each other. And I'm not going to have my daughter's life, as well as continue to have my life, ruined because of the fact that we have these peons that don't know how to regulate their own fucking lives and their own fucking emotions, who also ruin their fucking lives with their fucking fathers. You can't say the boys ruined their lives with their father. That was their mom's fault. Because I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. In the last 6 years, I don't know if the boys have reconnected to their father or not. However, I do know that the boys didn't know their father because of the fact that the situation that their mom chose him to be, or at least that's her story, she chose him to be their father, and he didn't want to be a father to him, but she still continued to have the babies. And when he literally went and told his family and his friends, those aren't my kids. Those aren't my kids. Those not mine. They're not mine. I don't know, but he still got pulled into the fucking, like, court to get, like, child support done, like, onto him. So I don't know if they, once again, if the boys have a relationship with their father or not. That's not my fault. The common denominator in the whole situation between myself, my daughter, and her brothers are her mom. So, can't keep blaming me for shit that happened in y'all lives where I had nothing to do with it. The person who y'all should blame is the person that y'all, buried. That's not my fault. Once again, also not my fault that y'all had to bury her. Had nothing to do with it. I was miles away from her when she got sick. Miles away from her when she took her last breath. Miles away from her when they buried her. Can't blame me for that. Still, somehow they still try to blame me for shit that never happened. It's a common fucking thing. But even with her aunt, my daughter's aunt, she ruined, she ruined her relationship with her own dad. Because her own dad, rest in peace to him, decided to leave the marriage and go start dating and messing with a colleague that was in, I think it was a colleague in the school that they was going to. It might have been somebody different, I don't know, but it was somebody that he fell for, and he was in a relationship with her until he got tricked into coming back and got, even my daughter's mom was confused at the story about how she was conceived, because it was to a point where she was like, he came back to have, I was told they came back to have a conversation, and this one thing led to another, and then they ended up having sex, and then, she had me. And I was like, okay, so he cheated on your mom with his new job, and then somehow came back to your mom, and which we know that shit can happen, but he still left again because of the fact that he didn't know she was pregnant. And when he found out she was pregnant, that's when he came back. It was like, I'm going to take care of my daughter because that's my daughter, yada yada, I'm a stand-up dude type shit. And that's when he ended up having cancer or whatever and dying from cancer because of the fact that I think like 8 years later. And that's when abuse, the real abuse started happening. Not so much, here's the fucked up part about it. She was already like, my daughter's mind was already traumatized because of the fact that she had to watch her dad slowly die through cancer. Mind you, her sister didn't care because her sister was mad at her dad because her sister was like, you cheated on mom, you a piece of shit, blah, blah. He was like, you my goddamn daughter, you ain't talk to me like that. The fuck you think you disrespect? I don't give a fuck what's going on with me and your mom. You don't have no fucking right to disrespect me, but fuck you. So her sister ruined her own relationship with her own dad. And then the fucking funnier part was, funnier part in the situation, not for her sister, when they found out her sister was, like, when her sister was being born, my daughter's mom, the dad came back. So he didn't even come back for her as his firstborn. He came back for his secondborn and doted on her. So it was nothing but animosity between the older sister to the younger sister. To the point where when the mom didn't care anymore about her youngest child, because at that point, the reason why she had her youngest child was to basically trap her husband back into a situation with her again. The husband died. So she lost the treasure that she put out. She lost the treasure out there, but she still had the bait. And the bait was her younger daughter. So she gave up responsibility to her younger daughter to her oldest daughter, which now her oldest daughter was basically abusing her younger sister. Because people thought, it was even funnier because people thought that my daughter's mom was actually the daughter to her sister. Because that's how much they was around each other, and she was around that age. She was like in her 20s or like that. So yeah, it was wild. Like, she lived through a tragic life. And which actually, the trauma bond that brought me and her together was that. It was, and I can highly admit that. We bonded through a trauma bond. Like, with all the crazy shit I went through with my family and all the crazy shit when she went through with her family, I was like, we get together, we can heal together, we can heal ourselves, and we can heal each other together, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And, we can change the generational curses that we've been through and, instill light and love into our children and, yada, yada, yada. It was, a beautiful concept of what the reality we wanted, or at least I wanted to have with our children and our family was. But once again, like I said earlier, you never know what a person is thinking. You never know what's going through a person's head. They can tell you, oh, this is what I'm thinking. They can tell you this is what the plan is. They can tell you, I agree with you, and this is what I want to do for us, and all that can be a lie. So when it comes down to it, that's why I choose to be single, because you never know the depths of just darkness somebody has in them. Now, mind you, I know the depths of darkness I have inside myself. I don't run for that shit. Like, I'm a Gemini. The grass is always green on both sides, even if it's a hell pit or it's a heaven pit or if it's somewhere in between. I always have green grass. It is what it is. Like, I don't have no qualms for either allowing my halo to come out for a day or allowing my horns to stretch out and get some air and shit like that. It don't matter to me. It is what it is. Because point blank period, I will always choose to be kind to anyone and everyone. It's about how you treat me is the representation of what you get from me. Because I can give you the sunshine, or we can take it to the moonlight. It is what it is, honestly. And I don't particularly like going to the dark side, because as fun as it is on the moment of what's happening, like, truthfully, I'd rather be around cutesy wootsy shit. I'd rather be around like fucking like sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows and shit like that. Like case in point. I enjoy the mixture of light and dark, but I enjoy the levity of fucking just character development to the brighter side, a more impactful depth of healing and learning and stuff like that. Like, for example, I just finished the anime because that's all I do now. Besides finishing school, because I just finished one of my courses. My GPA is about to be at like, it's still gonna be around the same, which is a 3.93, which is still in the president's list. But my credits that I have now will be, when one of the grades and stuff go in, it's going to be at 142, which means I have 40 credits left before I get my bachelor's degree, which I am fucking ecstatic about. 10 more courses to go, and I will have my bachelor's degree in the science of psychology, and I am so ecstatic. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so grateful for this journey. I am the answer, sir. I still have to watch the Vampire Lestat because Akasha came out, and all I kept seeing was that clip of Akasha. But anyway, I digress. I've just finished an anime called Zombieland Saga, and when I tell you, Zombieland Saga was so fucking impressive. Like, it starts off, I mean, if you look up the preview of like how it starts, it's fucking insane. But like, it was so good. It was so unexpected because I knew nothing about it. The only thing I knew about it was how it opens, how it starts. And it starts, you can look it up yourself, spoilers if you will, but I mean, it's as zombie in the name. But like, spoilers if you will, for Zombieland Saga, it starts with a little 16-year-old schoolgirl getting hit by a truck. That's how it starts. She runs out from her house. She's saying goodbye to her family or whoever like that that's living in the house, and she's running out the house. And as soon as she crosses the threshold of her fucking, like, you know, her stoop or a wall or, you know, her house or like that, she gets hit by a truck, and she dies. That's how it starts, and it's a awesome ass fucking like rock song, like, you know, that is heavy metal rock star and fucking blaring and shit like that as the theme song. It like is the opening song. It's fucking fire. I had no idea what the fuck this anime was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be a a thing in the world of like Zom 100, where it was going to be a zombie like series, but it also has some comedy in it, or if it was going to be like an anime version of Train to Busan. You know what I mean, if you will, like even I think Train to Busan did have an anime sequel, but I didn't know what the fuck. It ends up turning out to be a goddamn pop idol with zombies. It was zombie girls who were brought back as zombies so that they could become pop idol stars and sing songs. That's the whole fucking premise of the show. That's it. And it was so good because like they didn't first off, the main girl that get hit by the truck, she gets her memory and she remembers who she, well no she becomes aware of who she is. She becomes aware that she's a zombie first, and has like a personality. She actually lost her memory and of who she was when she was alive, but all the other zombie girls, which I found out the ages of all of them. The main girl was 16. The youngest one was 12. Three of the other girls are 19, and the last one is 29. And it's 2 seasons in a movie. And when I tell you the build up to the last one getting their like personality back was so badass. It was so incredible. Like the movie was so like I finished all the whole thing. I finished the first 2 seasons and I finished the movie. Like I want to say it took me like 2 days on total like that. But yeah, like oh my gosh, like it was so good. It was so well done. Like when the girls had to confront their history or their past lives of how they died or like what led them to their deaths and stuff like that. Like it was, or like the lives that they lived before they died. It was so well done. It was so well done. Like oh my god, the character development for these characters was so great. Like and the songs was good. Like it was amazing. So like that's what I mean when I'm like I enjoy the light and I enjoy the whole kit and caboodle of it all. I enjoy the whole yin and yang of it all. Like there's going to be some darkness in the light and there's going to be some light in the dark. Like you can't have a shade unless there's light fucking shining down on it. And you can't have you can't have light all the time because you're never going to appreciate like what I mean. You can't have rainstorms because you can't appreciate the light type shit. But reverse that. So like what I mean, it's just one of those things. But it's annoying. Again, why I choose to be single, because it becomes this fucking unauthentic like concept where people just have to act like they don't have any type of bad like characteristics to them. Everybody want to act like they're good people, while while intending to be good, they bash other people for what they think that they want to say is wrong about them, which is inherently fucking wrong. Like you can't go and be like, oh no, I'm a good person, but that person over there bad. Well, why are they bad? Because they think differently than me. What? We're supposed to be unique individuals. We we weren't raised by the same parents. We was raised in a country of doctrines, of rules that say you should not kill, you should not steal, even though we already know this country does all that shit. Like you shouldn't embezzle. Fucking like that's what literally, once again, the fucking media of entertainment fucking big ups and applauds mafia movies. You know how many mafia movies there are out there? You know what I mean? Like before, everybody was talking about the superhero fatigue and shit like that. It was literally nothing but mafia movies. Like once again, one of my favorite mafia movies is always going to be Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. People like Casino, people like Bronx Tale, all that stuff like that. Like Goodfellas is my shit. I mean, yeah, he was a rat. I get it, but like, I fuck with that movie. I fuck with it. Like I'm not a rat, but to say it. Like, 'cause once again, I also don't do crime. I also don't go into a situation where if I get fucking hemmed up, then I got the information to tell on other people. Like, that's not, like, I live my life. That's all I do. I don't boost cars. I knew people that boost cars. I don't boost cars. I don't fucking rob. Well, I used to, when I was a kid, I used to, like, get comic books from 7-Eleven. But, oh, that was actually good times, too, because I actually made it come up. Especially during that, it was what issue was that? It was the monochrome issue of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, where it was Spider-Man versus Venom. I think it was like, it was the anniversary cover or like that. I got like 5 of those bitches and sold those for like $3.25. I'm gonna come up that day, but like I was like, Jesus, I was in middle school at the time. I think I was like in middle school at the time. I was like, yeah, 13, 14 or some shit like that. But anyway, regardless, like, I'm not running down, what is it, Toretto style trucks and shit like that, Fast and Furious style, and I'm boosting like 18-wheelers and shit and getting CD fucking players or PlayStation 5s and yada yada yada, and you know, car parts and shit like that, and selling it to the fucking black market. I'm not in that type of racket. Like, even back then when I was doing it as a kid with the comics, I was like, I'm not doing this all the time. This is not a thing for me. It's not for me. This is great to get some candy, get some fucking num nums and shit like that. But like, this is not for me. I'm not a criminal. I'm smart enough to be a criminal, but I'm also smart enough not to be a criminal. But yeah, like, it was just one of those things. It was like, when I do my shit, I want to be able to tell my shit. Like, that's the type of life I want to lead. Like, even if people agree with me or not, like, I want to have stories where I could go and just, like, have a drink with a friend and be like, you know, I had a crazy, like, I wanted to live, like, the story to tell thing, the Biggie story to tell was, like, the hallmark of what I perpetuatedly, like, wanted my life to be. I wanted to go into a situation where I meet up with some type of bro. Me and her smash, and then find out her dude come in, and then I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And she like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, hold on, I got it. Let me tie you up real quick. If she's not already tied up, because, you know, I'm into that shit. But like, and then, like, you know, the boy come in, and he got the gun pointed to his face, like, no, don't kill me, don't kill my wife, don't kill my boo, don't, like, I got the cash in the stash, here, take this, and blah, blah, blah. So I already busted nut. Now I got fucking bricks of cash and shit like that. Now I get the hook and call the home. It's like, yo, you won't believe the fuck I just did. Shit like, yo. Like, oh man, yo, that's the type of life I want to live. Yeah, granted, he did put a gun to the dude's face. It was armed robbery and shit like that. But I mean, the dude actually, technically, he just gave up all his fucking money. He didn't know he had all that money in his fucking his stash. Outside of the gunfight, you know what I mean? Like, that's the type I want to be able to be like, yo, I had a story where I was like, me and this very nice woman was end up having coitus, and then the crazy wildest shit happened, yada yada yada. Like, that's the type of life I want to live. That's the shit I was on. Like, and that's what I was perpetually on throughout my 20s and my 30s and shit like that, until I just got old. And I was like, I want to find somebody I can, like, grow old with, and actually, like, I can have these crazy sexual adventures with them, and then when we grow old together, you know what I mean, we can, like, you know, reminisce and shit about those old sexual adventures and exploits that we used to do. That's where my head always been at. It's always been one progression to the next of just, what's the wildest, craziest, like, sex story or, like, adventure, like, I can have in my life, and then who can I share it with? But now I'm just a whole thing where I'm just like, forget the sex, because people are nasty. like now I have a broader sense of the world, and I'm realizing a lot of people don't wash up properly, right? A lot of people just don't know how to like practice proper hygiene. Like, so I'm like, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm alright. I'll stick to myself. Then not to mention finding a person who had the best quality of vagina I've ever like experienced. I'm like, I reached the plateau. I like unless the quality is on the quality of the last person I was inside of. It's nothing I really. It's not gonna do with you. Like, I'm just gonna be like, all right. Like, I'm happy you got off. Of course, I'm a guy. It's friction is friction. But at the same time, the quality of what would produce that friction, if it's not on that, it's not on that tear. It's just a part of me, and it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Yeah, I would rather put more emphasis and focus on the time spent with like my daughter or learning stuff like that. Like, sex is the last thing like that is on my mind now, and it's so funny because it's like it's always there because America is America. America is always going to have that weird yin and yang situation when it comes to sex. It's like sex is taboo, sex shouldn't be talked about, sex blah blah blah. But remember they had that Jessica Simpson fucking like was it Arby's? Or like it was that burger commercial where it was like nothing but like she literally took a bite of a sandwich and the juices fell down between her fucking cleavage and shit, and like it was sex. It was selling sex, and it's so funny. Like, America's hilarious. Like, everything that you're not supposed to like, America puts right in your face and being like, here you go, but don't like it. It's the line from fucking Devil's Advocate. It's a like, look but don't touch but don't taste but don't enjoy. It's the constant pushback of like moving the goalposts and saying, well, if you do like this, you shouldn't. But if you do, then don't go to this next range. But if you do go to the next level, then don't enjoy it. But if you do, don't go to the next level. But it's a constant perpetuation of, well, you know, it's better over here. Like, it's you know what it is? It's the Devil's Advocate mixed with what's the name of the fucking what's the John Walk Hard. it's that. It's like, oh, this is weed. You don't want this. It's like, yeah, I don't want to die from it. You can't OD. Well, I don't want to be addicted. You can't be addicted to it. I don't want the worst thing to happen to you. All you do is get the munchies and you think everything's funny. Like, y'all gotta watch Walk Hard again, dude. That shit was hilarious. Between Walk Hard and Heat, I don't know why. I just seen it was so funny. I just seen a video of Heat where it was the shootout. It was the big shootout when they was like, they robbed the bank. Al Pacino like cornered them and the police like dragnetted them and shit like that. And they was Val Kilmer and Al Pacino and them was like running down the fucking like the massive like street and like letting off fucking like magazine after magazine. And it was so funny because they was like, this is the video that I don't know, law enforcement or the military or something like that, like showed. It was like Val Kilmer did it so excellently that they showed them as a practice round, blah blah blah. And I was just like, I mean, okay. I feel like there has been major movies. I mean, of course, like the obvious one would be, you know, I was about to say Matrix. John Wick. You know what I mean? He did the Reload game. And Ballerina, like all their stunts and stuff like that when it comes down to like gun playing and trigger fucking training and stuff like that, like, and you know, positioning and stuff like that, is, I feel like they're some of the best. I feel like Punisher does it well too. John Baratheon, Punisher gunplay training, they do a really good thing about racking and trigger training and trigger positioning and reloading and like clearing the chambers and stuff like that. I feel like they do a really good job in that too. I also feel like, hell, even in Last of Us 2, there was a really great scene where they showed Abby doing trigger awareness. Basically, it was I can't remember exactly. I want to say it was like right after her, or right when her and when the young lady that she was like protecting gets separated. She goes into like a trailer or something like that, and she hears something and she calls out for her. She puts her finger on the trigger at first, but then she takes it off, and then because of the fact that she didn't know if it was going to be the girl or not, so she didn't want to just put her hand on the trigger, because if she, instinctively looks up and see a body, she might pull the trigger, and she didn't want to do that to her. So I was like, that was really good, like trigger like training. But the purpose of the video was basically talking about how Val Kilmer did a really excellent job in like reloading the mag and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, okay. But regardless of that, the scene of itself of them doing the shootout was incredible. That was an incredible, intense scene. The movie was incredible. Like, it was something that I seen. I think I watched it like, I want to say at least twice. It possibly could have been 3 times I've seen Heat, but I definitely know I watched it twice. But Heat was a great movie. You know what Heat was? Heat was the equivalent, because it was the American equivalent of what I felt when I watched that really like subpar martial arts movie, American martial art movie that had Jet Li and Jackie Chan in it. I can't remember. It was basically like Sung Wong. What's his name? The game that just came out, and the one that the character Goku was supposed to be, created from, was like that. Sung Woo Fang, I believe his name is. I know his name, it's escaped me right now. But it was Jackie Chan and Jet Li was in it, and he was supposed to be protecting this little white boy who was supposed to become the master kung fu artist from the mystic, like from Earth, but he got it was isekai. It was basically isekai. It was American based isekai, where it was a white kid as the protagonist, and then he goes into this foreign land or this other universe, this other reality, and then he meets up with Jet Li's character and Jackie Chan's character, and Jet Li and Jackie Chan fight each other. But of course, it goes to a standstill, and then they both go and they protect the little white boy until the white boy learn how to do kung fu, and then he saves the day because white America, yada yada yada. But anyway, it was that was the equivalent for me of what Heat was for like white America, basically, which was hilarious. But I digress. When it comes down to it, I have been revisiting, outside of the anime and stuff like that, I've been trying to revisit a lot of old movies and old stuff that I've been watching back in the day, just so I can like refresh my memory on it and stuff like that, and like just get a new perspective of how I enjoy it, because now I'm 45 and I watched these things when I was like between 16 to like now, like that. Like, so now I'm like like another thing I'm rewatching, and I'm going to try to watch all of them now, is the Evil Dead series. First off, I love Evil Dead. I've always been a fan of Evil Dead. I love how like the concept of the franchise has jumped all over the place. When it became like, first it's like the first movie was a horror movie. The second movie was like a horror comedy action movie. Like the third movie, I was going to say last movie, but the last movie in the trilogy, that trilogy, was a action comedy horror, or basically, and then it went into revamping it into a whole new franchise that is still in that universe, because all of this is in the same universe, regardless of what's happening with the rights, because apparently Sam Raimi never had the rights, didn't have the rights to the first movie. That's why the second movie was kind of like a recap of the first movie, and went into the second movie, and the second movie went into the third movie type thing. But like, it's Evil Dead, 2, Army of Darkness. Then it goes into Evil Dead, and then it goes into Evil Dead Rise, and now it's going to be Evil Dead Burn, which is dope because I definitely seen the remake one when they was doing the girl was addicted to drugs, and her friends brought her out to a cabin so that she could detox and yada yada yada. It was an intervention trip. Then I definitely seen the one where they was stuck in the not hotel. So let's say hotel motel, the apartment that was over top of the bank with the family and stuff like that. And I definitely want to see Evil Dead Burn. Like, I definitely want to see Evil Dead Burn because Evil Dead Burn is connected to Rise, and it's connected to the whole franchise. The whole franchise is still connected to it. But also, many people didn't know. Like, I don't know if people knew about this, or many people like gave it the respect that it needed. But like, it was the Ash versus the Evil Dead series that came out, where they had Lucy Liu in it for like both seasons. Like Sam Raimi was actually able to do the original ending that he wanted to do for the Evil Dead franchise, which was basically send Ash to the far distant future. And have him fight the Deadites, but apparently, like, because it's so much lore, and so much backstory that nobody really like appreciates, because it's a timely fucking thing. Like, Ash is the epitome of why everything went wrong. Because Ash started the loop. Before Ash and his friends went to the cabin in Evil Dead 1, Ash was already sent back in the past to grab the Necronomicon, and then he fumbled the words, and then he gave the Necronomicon that he had to the Knights Templar, which held the and they basically gave it to the church, and the churches basically found the other two and like hid them in other places, but then drew him because he's the one who helped them survive against the Deadites and stuff like that in the past. And that was the same book that the Necronomicon that basically the scientist or professor fucking found, and he took to the cabin with his wife, and that's how his wife got infected with the Deadites, and that's how everything led up into Ash and his friends like listening to the recordings about this, and his voice, the professor's voice reading the book out loud, and brought the Deadites to the fucking world's happening, and to attack Ash and stuff like that, and why Ash wasn't supposed to die, because of the fact that if he died, it would destroy the loop of the time loop, and the prophecy wouldn't happen, and the Deadites wouldn't be able to fucking wreak havoc on the world the way it did. It's so well done. It was so well done. Like, I appreciate the Evil Dead series so much, and I'm so excited for Evil Dead Burn. But yeah, between Evil Dead Burn and like, cause I think they come out this week or next week. But I'm trying to watch that, and I'm trying to do a double feature, because I'm going to try to hold out to see if I can like, because I know Spider-Man is coming out the end of this month, and I have to see it. Like, first and foremost, I've been saying this before, and I'll say it again. Like, I personally, because I just rewatched the trilogy, the Tom Holland trilogy, I honestly will say this, and this is going to get a lot of hate, and I don't care, because think what you want. I'm thinking what I want. The Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy is the best trilogy of the MCU. For me, hands down. I was pleased with all three movies. Regardless of whatever gripes anybody else had about it, I was pleased with all three movies. There was not a franchise in which call it that I was pleased with all three movies. Like, for Iron Man, I enjoyed the first Iron Man because it really was straight from a comic book. Like, they really took the comic book and just put it into the movie. Like, it was great. Iron Man 2, I enjoyed Iron Man 2, but it wasn't really that great. I enjoyed it, but because they did, because they was trying to keep it kid friendly, they avoided his alcoholism, and they just was like, oh no, he's drinking because of the fact that he's dying. No, he's an alcoholic. He's an alcoholic. It didn't matter if he was dying or not. He was just an alcoholic. Like, the fuck? And then the third one, I like the third one better than the second one because of the fact that it dealt with his PTSD. It dealt with him being like a survivor and having like not just survivor's remorse, but also the trauma of being like he resolved himself to die. He was like, okay, well, this is it. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm just going to suffocate and die in space. And then he didn't. But he did die, and he came back. Like, he died, and the Hulk literally screamed death away. Because once again, if people don't realize it or not, the Hulk can see spirits. He can see death. I wish they would have picked that in there because Aubrey Plaza wasn't deaf yet in the MCU at the point, but I wish they would retcon that and be like, oh no, I was there. I was grabbing Tony, but like the Hulk startled me, and I was like, nope, go back, go back. like I wish they would do something like that, but that's neither here nor there. Captain America. The first one was, once again, straight out of comic book, but I was so bored with it. I was bored. I didn't care. I never cared about Captain America. Now, Winter Soldier brought me right back into it. I was like, fuck it. Part 3, I was like, Part 3 was cool because it brought Spider-Man in there, Black Panther in there, stuff like that, but it was basically an Avengers-like movie. So it was like, not taking anything away from it, but it just was what it was. The Thors, Ragnarok was my favorite one. Now, I did like the fourth one. I liked the fourth one. I did enjoy that one. I do feel like they did nerf the villain. I felt like they nerfed him. But regardless of being nerfed or not, I also felt as though a lot of people gave it a lot of shit because they didn't understand what the fuck the premise was. Thor comic books are Thor comic books, but Thor was originally presented in like the Tales of Marvel series, and a lot of the Tales of Marvel series, even some of the Thor book series and stuff like that, is about people telling us about Thor's stories and telling us about the tales of Thor, and people exaggerate. It's like the movie The 13th Warrior. It's like the movie The 13th Warrior, where it's like there were tales of people talking about fucking Beowulf and saying like his exploits and all the shit that he did and shit like that. Like, it was supposed to be exaggerated, and fucking he exaggerates. He was telling the story to kids. He was like the movie starts with him, the Rock dude. I forgot his name, Cole or Noel or whatever the fuck his name is. Like, talking to kids and saying like, this is what happened with kids. Like, this is what happened with Thor. This is one of the tales of Thor. And it ends off with them being like, this is the tale that, Thor lived. So, like, people wasn't understanding that the lack of seriousness that happened was because of the fact that, what's his name? Grog? I think it was Grog. I can't remember his name. Grog was telling the story, and Grog he doesn't take anything serious. He doesn't understand the nuance of seriousness. So, yeah, but at the same time, the first Thor movie, I seen it. Second Thor movie, I've seen it. Like, of course, Natalie Portman was in it, so I enjoyed it for that. And of course, Kat Dennings was in it. Enjoyed it for that. But like, it was what it was. It was a movie. But like, the third and fourth Thor movies, the ones I enjoyed the most. Definitely Ragnarok was definitely I enjoyed the most. The Avengers trilogy, not even trilogy, because it was part 1 and part 2, Endgame and Infinity War, Endgame. But like, Age of Ultron, it was barely a week. It wasn't an age. It was barely a week. But I'm not nitpicking because of that. I'm just like, it was what it was. It was what it was. It felt like it was a hodgepodge of stuff that they was trying to introduce, and it was just like, all right, it is what it is. We don't have a trilogy of Black Panther yet. so I'm not even going to talk about that. But I enjoyed the first Black Panther for what it was, even though I still feel as though how I feel when it comes down to the character. I feel as though the character was cooning a bit because like he took everything that everybody said and he did literally everything that everybody said. But the worst part was he knows the history of fucking the world. He knows the history of Europeans. He knows the history of Caucasian. That's why I never was a fan of the comic book character of Black Panther, because point blank period, when it comes down to it, he always want to hang out with the fucking white people. He always want to hang out with the Avengers. He always want to hang out with like fucking Fantastic Four and shit like that. Like he married Storm, but like that was only because of the fact that Storm's a baddie. Storm's a baddie. I mean, I'm not going to knock him for that. Storm's a baddie. But like at the same time, like you're not like what the fuck. First of all, you see how Europeans are treating Africa and how Africa is fucked up and war ridden, and they coming in and stealing resources and stuff like that from Africa and stuff like that. And then you still gonna go in there and be like, oh yeah, no, we not just farmers. We Wakanda. Like, why are you giving them the secret sauce? Why are you giving them the secret sauce? I'm not even gonna get into it. I ain't gonna get into it. But like, which I loved about that, because the second movie basically perpetuated that. They didn't go as hard as they should have went, but they basically was like, look at these, like look at these Caucasus Mountain motherfuckers and how they always trying to steal, kill, and fucking take shit from people. Like, it's some bullshit. But regardless, yeah, like when it comes down to it, Spider-Man was the best trilogy. Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't like what you call it. I can't remember her name enough to like think about Zoe Daldana or whatever. Yeah, I just don't like her. I don't like her as an actress. I just don't. It is what it is. Sue me. But like the rest of the movies it was okay. Like the first one was great because it came out left field. I don't know anything about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I know Peter Quill married Kitty Pryde, but I don't really fuck with Kitty Pryde like that. Kitty Pryde got a weird thing for people named Peter, and she also is like one of those like weird racists that's like, no, I got a lot of black friends, but she also drops the N-word constantly, so it's kind of like fuck Kitty Pryde. But like, yeah, like the whole like, once again, James Gunn is dope as an director. I love the way he introduced like music into the narrative of the stories and stuff like that. It was great. The second one was okay. The third one was good because of the fact that I enjoyed the concept of, you know, Rocket Raccoon's like storyline. Once again, like I said earlier, I enjoy story development. I enjoy like characters having some point of where they had a whole bunch of trauma and they healed from that trauma, like, and being real about it, being honest about it. So I fucks with that. But yeah, it wasn't like I was really like, yeah, I can watch all 3 Spider-Man movies and be like, yeah, I'm with it. All 3 of them. I don't get bored with it. I don't get like, just like the whole thing with like the Superman thing. Like Supergirl, when Supergirl comes out on fucking like digital or DVD or whatever like that, I'm gonna be watching that a bunch of times because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Superman one. Like I think I watched it 3 times. But like I enjoyed that. I wasn't bored at all with the Superman stuff. Like even when he wasn't like even as Clark, I enjoyed this Clark, like him being Clark and shit like that. It was dope. I liked it. Like it is what it is. But even I went from, you know, the MCU to the DCU, but like at the same time, I enjoyed it. What else? I'm trying to think, what else was the MCU? Like I enjoyed like the TV series, I enjoyed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it wasn't like every season was something I enjoyed, every episode was I enjoyed, but I enjoyed the overall narrative of it. Agent Carter was my shit. I love Agent Carter. I need to rewatch that again. But yeah, the Spider-Man trilogy was fucking dope, and I love, and I'm excited to see where they're gonna go with this new like trilogy. I am excited to see Sadie Sink again. I can't get enough. I'm excited to see where they're going to do with her as Jean Grey. I'm excited to see what Zendaya does with MJ as somebody who had her memory wiped, but of course she figured out who Spider-Man was the first time. Like, it's not going to be that difficult because she's adult now. She's out of college to also figure out that this motherfucker's like this Spider-Man. So like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for John Bernthal to be as the Punisher to be in it. I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to see if Ned they're actually going to do it and make Ned into the Hobgoblin, which that would be fucking fire if they do. Which will make more nuance and make more understanding of why he fights the Hobgoblin, but he never really try to fight the Hobgoblin. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hoping that they do a long spread of this. Like, it's not just Ned Ned is a tinkerer. He's a computer guy. So I hope that it comes to a point where not in this movie, but like the next movie, they bring the Green Goblin out, and then Ned winds up finding some of the tech from the Green Goblin, and then retrofits it so he becomes the Hobgoblin. I would like for them to do that. But yeah, I'm excited for it. So I'm going to try to do a double feature of Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and Evil Dead Burn. So yeah, once again, darkness with the light. But yeah, that's going to be it from me, folks. Thank you again for traversing this verse. Thank you for hanging out with me for this podcast. I hope y'all all have a wonderful week. I hope y'all all stay cool if y'all in the hot weather. I hope y'all all stay dry if y'all in the rainy weather. And make sure you hydrate. That is something that is fucking positive. Make sure you constantly hydrate. Thank you again for listening, and I look forward to talking to y'all next week. Alright, see y'all later. Thank you for traversing this verse. This has been a Troyiverse production.